fellow students, staff, visitors, and especially our honored veterans. Welcome to the 2023 Veterans Day Assembly. Thank you, veterans and guests, for attending our celebration to honor your service to our country.
Students, we finally ask that you show your respect to our veterans and guests by remaining quiet throughout the assembly. Thank you for helping us to honor those who served in the military and our military in order to secure all freedoms that we have today and in the future.
To kick off our assembly, please welcome our local veterans from the American Legion Post 55 on the presentation of colors. HMS students Brooke Hess, Skylar Harvey, Kel Gamer, and Kalia Chen will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, we ask that you please stand and remain standing for the playing of our national anthem.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, students and our HMS band, for leading us. At this time, we would like to welcome our principal at HMS, Ms. Utterback.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we gather here to pay tribute to the brave men and women who have selflessly served our country, our veterans. We're truly honored to have you all here with us today. In every corner of our nation, there are stories of valor and sacrifice, of individuals who answered the call to defend the freedoms we hold so dear. Today, we come together to express our deepest gratitude for their service and to acknowledge the immense sacrifices they and their families have made. Joining us today are not only our esteemed veterans, but also their families whose support and resilience have been instrumental in their loved ones' service. We thank you for standing by their side and sharing in their journey. I would also like to extend a warm thank you to Matthew Sheldnick, Jonathan Hiles, Debbie Williams, and the leaders of the crew who have worked tirelessly to make this event possible. Your commitment to education and community is invaluable, and we're grateful for all that you do. Lastly, to our incredible students, you are the future of our nation. Today's event serves as a reminder of the importance of gratitude, empathy, and understanding. Take the opportunity to learn from the experiences of our veterans and carry their legacy forward with honor and respect. To our honored guests, veterans, families, staff, and students, thank you for being here today. Let's come together in a spirit of unity and appreciation as we pay tribute to those who have given so much for our country. May this day serve as a testament to the enduring strength and unity of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Utterback. A veteran is anyone who has served for our country in the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, or the National Guard or Reserves. Throughout history, they've included the Green Mountain Boys, Buffalo Soldiers, Tuskegee Airmen, Women Air Force Service Pilots, Screaming Eagles, and Green Berets. They are the men and women who serve the country at home and abroad, on land, sea, and air, and since 1973 have served as an all-volunteer force. To explain this more, please watch this short video that explains the choice that these men and women have made and why it is important that we take the time to recognize and thank them.
Distant thunder. Some hear it like a whisper in. There is a call. Some hear it like a distant thunder. Some hear it like a whisper in the ear. Some just feel it in their hearts. A deep sense of responsibility to country, to service, to something bigger than themselves. We honor those who are willing to do what so few have done because of their sacrifice and service. Our country is a light on the hill that cannot be put out. Though many have tried, those who stand and protect it are heroes, worthy of our respect and admiration, worthy of every minute of attention we give to pause and recognize the hope, the sacrifice, the honor of all who have served our country.
Good afternoon. I'm Mr. Shulman, and I'm one of the teachers here, one of the social studies teachers. First and foremost, I would like to wish happy 248th birthday to the United States Marine Corps. I have the pleasure of speaking today to discuss why we celebrate Veterans Day, and especially what is the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day. There are over 18 million living veterans in our country today. that served for us and sacrificed their lives for us. But what exactly is the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day? Two national holidays, Memorial Day and Veterans Day, honor the sacrifice of Americans who served in the U.S. Armed Forces. We celebrate the people who served and the values Americans hold as a nation: duty, honor, and civic responsibility. The holidays, though they commemorate the sacrifices of thousands of American service members, are distinctly different. Memorial Day is the older of the two holidays, having its roots in the Civil War. First known as Decoration Day, it was instituted by former Union Army Major General John A. Logan to honor those who died in the armed forces. The establishment of Veterans Day as a national holiday had a different purpose. It stems from the armistice that ended combat during World War I on November 11, 1918. It honored all who had served in the U.S. Armed Forces in World War I. The holiday was officially called Armistice Day, and in 1926, it became a national holiday 12 years later. Shortly afterward, in 1954, President Dwight Eisenhower signed a bill which officially changed the name of the holiday and broadened its purpose to include all those who have served, not those just involved in World War I. We celebrate Veterans Day on the anniversary of the armistice that ended World War I. The armistice that began on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And you have to wonder, in fact, if the timing of this holiday is quite deliberate in terms of historical fact. But somehow, it always seems quite fitting that this day comes deep in autumn when the colors are muted and days seem to invite contemplation. Memorial Day and Veterans Day honor the sacrifices of innumerable individuals who sacrificed themselves to preserve the freedoms all Americans enjoy. With Memorial Day remembering those who gave their lives, and Veterans Day honoring all who served in the U.S. Armed Forces. We owe them a debt we can never repay, and all we can do is remember them and what they did and why they had to be brave for us. Thank you.
Each year, students at HMS take part in the Patriots Pick Contest sponsored by the VFW. This youth essay competition gives students an opportunity to write about their view on patriotism. This year's themes ask the question, how are you inspired by America? Each grade level at HMS has a winner in the Patriots Pick, and we will begin by hearing from the 8th grader Destiny O'Connor.
America has been through many obstacles and tragedies throughout the years. Some might view these as failures, but not Americans. One of the many things that inspire me about America is the idea that no matter how many times you fail, if you keep trying, you will succeed. When you think about America, you might remember all the tragedies, but they cannot be called failures because we have never given up. From tragic wars to unequal rights, Americans have faced many challenges, yet have never failed. America inspires me to keep trying. Hearing veteran stories inspires me the most. I want to change the world in the way that they do. I'm sure that veterans face challenges that make feel like failures, but they keep trying. Veterans have changed this country because of their persistence. That is the greatest inspiration.
Thank you, Destiny, for your inspiring and heartfelt words. If we could now turn our attention to the HMS Band, they will entertain us with the song Armed Forces on Parade. Veterans, it would be our honor if you would please stand when you hear your military branch song.
Good afternoon. I'm Mr. Schieferdecker, and as most of you know, I'm one of the 6th grade social studies teachers here at Hannibal Middle School. Throughout our history, in each generation, U.S. men and women have answered the call to serve their countries. The U.S. has been involved in 12 major world conflicts spanning almost 250 years. During this time, the U.S. has amassed over 41 million veterans. Today, as Mr. Schildknecht said, there are over 18 million servicemen and women still living. We now would like to take time and recognize these veterans for their service to our country during the era they served. Veterans, if you would please stand when you hear the global conflict in which you served. Audience members, please hold your applause until the end. World War II, 1941 to 1945. The Korean War, 1950 to 1953. Vietnam, 1955 to 1975. The Gulf War, 1990 and 1991. And the War on Terror in Iraq and Afghanistan, 2001 to the present. Let's please honor them with our applause. Answering the call when our country needed you. Thank you.
Please welcome our next patriot and essayist, 7th grader Dennis Sharpie, who will be sharing his essay, My Pledge to Our Veterans.
Why is it so important that we honor our veterans? Together, we will watch this video that explains why it is important to honor those who served our country and the decision they have made to sacrifice their lives life so that we may have the freedoms that we have today.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. Support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of those officers appointed over me according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God.
We celebrate Veterans Day on the anniversary of the armistice that ended World War I. The armistice that began on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The timing of this holiday is quite deliberate in terms of historical fact. But somehow it always seems quite fitting to me that this day comes deep in autumn, when the colors are muted and the days seem to invite contemplation. It is, in a way, an odd thing to honor those who died in defense of our country, in defense of us, in wars far away. The imagination plays a trick. We see these soldiers in our mind as old and wise, but most of them were boys when they died, and they gave up two lives, the one they were living and the one they would have lived. When they died, they gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country, for us. And all we can do is remember. I will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. In memory of those who gave the last full measure of devotion, may our efforts to achieve lasting peace gain strength. Let us make a vow to our dead. Let us show them by our actions that we understand what they died for. Strengthened by their courage, heartened by their value, and born with their memory, let us continue to stand for the ideals for which they lived and died.
We of liberty.
Hello everybody, I'm Dennis Jockey. I'm in 7th grade and this is my poem. It's called 50 Stars. 50 stars and 13 stripes. We laid the land for people of all different types. But the flag will always be here, and that will never change throughout the years. 50 stars and 13 stripes that represent us all, throughout all our hardships, throughout all our faults. 50 stars and 13 stripes, inspiring us forever. For the men and women who served for us, when we needed them for whatever. 50 stars and 13 stripes. We love this land so much. We show our pride, we know our guide, we know how to love. 50 stars and 13 stripes. I know I love them so. They will always be here for me, even when I don't know. 50 stars and 13 stripes. How beautiful of a sign. It represents all of us. It shows how we define. 50 stars and 13 stripes. The stars know what they mean. Each one of the 50 states, they know what makes them all so great. 50 stars and 30 stripes, inspiring and shining great. The red, the blue, the white, makes me proud, makes me happy, makes me want to do what's right. 50 stars and 13 stripes, for the 13 colonies would be proud, for what America has become, for what their fighting has allowed. 50 stars and 13 stripes, for the future and the past. We will never stop fighting, we will never compromise. 50 stars and 13 stripes, for the men and women who serve. Our patriotism shines through them, because that's what they deserve. 50 stars and 13 stripes, letting freedom ring throughout. Our freedom shows, though we may not know, we can do justice by letting our pride show. 50 stars and 13 stripes, there's one thing that I'll always know. No matter what happens in this country, the great thing will always show. 50 stars and 13 stripes.
Thank you, Bennett. Our final Patriot Pens essay was written by a 6th grader, Autumn Coffey. In her place, we will be reciting it. This essay will highlight how she will honor the veterans.
When diving into American culture, people often think of foods like hamburgers and french fries, and although they're delicious, they didn't originate in America. This just goes to show that America is filled with other cultures, beliefs, rituals, and traditions. It also is inspiring because you can call something yours, but that doesn't always mean other people didn't go and completely more. America has many diverse communities in all religions, races, and morals are seen in this country. There are in fact 11 cultures recognized in the USA. Many people are exposed to all kinds of appearances and have seen in many different unique things about others. This is another reason why I think America is inspiring, because you know that whatever you look like or believe in, you are not alone and you can fit in somewhere. America has been face to face with lots of problems like war, racism, and the most recent one being the pandemic. As you can see, we have all somewhat overcome these major problems by coming together and finding a solution.
For example, in 1955, a woman by the name of Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a bus to a white man. She was later arrested for not obeying the rules, which stated that blacks sit in the back and white people sit in the front. This situation became well known, and many people were upset and wanted justice. Eventually, a man by the name of Martin Luther King Jr. spoke about this problem and started getting people's attention. He and a group of people that wanted justice for all. The black community started to boycott the bus company. During this time, they would carpool and bike to work or school. Their protests ran for about a year until the bus company started to lose drastic amounts of money. This displays that you don't have to be violent to get people to realize justice needs to take place, which is inspiring to us all. Finally, Americans may not always be united, but when it comes to representation of our country, we are all band together. And that is why America can inspire our decisions and the way we think. Thank you.
Introducing our next speaker, who will continue to make the case about the importance of this very special holiday. I have the privilege of introducing HMS's own Mr. Lance Harvey. Mr. Harvey is one of our 8th grade American history teachers and will share his personal thoughts on the power of patriotism.
First off, start by thanking the administration for carving out time in our day to honor the veterans. I'd like to thank the HMS Band, Mr. Fuller, Cynthia Roberts, Mr. Lillard for their performance, and I'd like to thank Mr. Shildick, Mrs. Williams, and the LOC for putting this all together. Finally, I'd like to thank you all for attending to be honored. I'm both honored and humbled to be here, speaking in front of the men and women who have sacrificed in the service of our country. Now, usually the keynote speaker is someone who has served in one of the 5 branches of the military, and I do not have that pedigree. And I'll be honest, as I stand up here, I feel somewhat unworthy to speak. But before you shot me down, let me introduce to you a couple people who are near and dear to me. All right. This is my grandfather. His name is John Hoyle Wright. He served in the Navy during World War II aboard the USS New Jersey. He was a gunner on the most decorated battleship in military history. He took part in the battles of Iwo Jima and Okinawa that helped assure victory against Japan. My grandfather was blessed. He got to come home. 407,316 Americans did not. This is my father, James K. Harvey, who also served in the Navy during Vietnam aboard the USS Constellation from 1967 to 1969. He was a member of Fighter Squadron VF-142, which was involved in several air combat operations during that time. My dad was blessed. He came home. 58,220 American soldiers did not. Now, I'm not here to ride the coattails of my dad and my grandpa. And I'm not here to regale you with tales of other people's heroism, other people's service. I simply want to illustrate that I was raised with deep reverence for service and a strong sense of patriotism. And that's what I want to speak about today. I want to speak about the power of patriotism. So, what does it mean to be a patriot? The dictionary definition is someone who loves and supports his country. And it seems simple, and by that definition, it would be easy for many people to claim to be patriots. But are we? Are we people who genuinely love our country? Or are many of us just mindlessly existing in America, scrolling through TikToks, arguing on Facebook about trivial things, watching YouTube videos about whether pigeons are real? Do we as Americans take for granted all the opportunities that are afforded to us just because of where we live? Do we just expect that the freedoms we enjoy will always be guaranteed? Do we forget that the greatness of our country came with a price? I think that we do forget. America was built on the idea that the people who settled this land and immigrated from places far and wide were determined to build a place that was better from whence they came. Over time, that developed into a powerful force that united us as a people, as Americans. A strong conviction that compelled the men and women sitting before me to leave their families and the comfort of home to go defend it. Patriotism is not about just flying the flag or singing the national anthem or setting off fireworks on the 4th of July. It's a deep-seated commitment to the principles and values that make our nation exceptional. And believe me, we are exceptional. You just ask any of the thousands of people that are trying to get into our country. Ask any of the countries who beg for our assistance in times of trouble. The American spirit is rooted in a shared belief in freedom and justice and equality for all. It's the understanding that in the tapestry of our nation, every thread, regardless of its color or its origin, has a place and a purpose. These veterans exemplify the very essence of American patriotism. They've risked their lives. They have faced unimaginable challenges and made sacrifices that many of us could never fathom, nor will ever have to. All to protect the freedoms and ideals that we enjoy. These men and women have demonstrated an unwavering commitment to our nation that defines the American spirit of patriotism. Now it's clear that our history is not without flaws. And as mentioned, some people... That's all right. Fix it. I'll yield. Some people's struggle has been more difficult for them than others, and we cannot change that past. But the circumstances of our arrival here does not make anyone more or less American. By acknowledging our past, we can then strive to build a better future. It means embracing the diverse tapestry of our nation, where people from all walks of life come together in unity. It means pursuing the American dream, but acknowledging that it is not a guarantee, but it is a promise that we must work together to fulfill. As we honor our veterans today, let us reflect on the responsibilities that come with being an American. We should never take for granted the rights and privileges that our veterans have fought to defend. It is our duty as citizens to engage in the democratic process, to vote, to be informed, to work together to address the challenges that face our country. It's our responsibility to support and care for those who have served and continue to serve, ensuring that they receive the recognition and assistance they deserve, and not just for one single day. In commemorating Veterans Day, let us remember the strength of our nation lies in the hearts and minds of every one of you here. Patriotism is not just a word, it's not just an idea. It is not passive, it requires action. We can't just merely exist as spectators in a country that our veterans have given so much to defend. Let us strive to be the best versions of ourselves as Americans, working together to build a brighter future for all, just as our veterans have done for us. Thank you to our veterans for your service, and for upholding the ideals and values that make us proud of Americans. God bless you all, and God bless the USA.
To complete our Veterans Day assembly, the song Taps is typically played as a call to remember those who gave their lives in the service of the United States. Please welcome Hannibal graduate and Navy veteran Ken Cummins performing Taps. Out of respect, could everyone please stand?
Thank you, Ken, and thank you so much to everyone who came out today to celebrate our amazing veterans. Please give a final round of applause to all of our musicians and speakers who made this assembly